Hello everyone, I am Will, and welcome back to my playthrough of Dark Souls 2, Skull of the First Sin. Last we left off, we finished up at Brightstone Cove, Seldora, Did the last little leg of the Brightstone Cove, Took start off at the bonfire next door to Ornifex, just kind of ran out, past all the enemies to the third door, or the second door on the left, You come out, the first door on the left is Ornifex, the next one after that is to a room with some spiders and infested hollow with a spider on his back. That led to like a little drop down and a door, which took us to the last section of the cove. Where I think the first thing we did was we lit the sconce right there. Just allows like a little safe zone dealing with the little spiders. So if you get overwhelmed, just back up to it. It should be okay. So we did that. I want to say the first thing we did is we went across the street to like a little building that had like a room that goes upstairs to another room. Obviously, I think there's some spiders in there. That led us to a balcony, hooked right. Where there was I think a large shard on a corpse over there. And a little platform that gets broken. You drop back down to the main street. Dealt with the spiders, the basilisk. And then after that, we used our throwing knives. Used our throwing knives to bust open the door on the other side of the street. From the way we came in, it's the last door on the left. I don't quite remember, but I think if you try to open it, it won't open. But it is one of those doors you can melee to break, but I wouldn't recommend standing in melee range. Nope. If you bust the door down with, say, your sword or your mace or whatever, sand on the inside will come pouring out. And if you're close enough, you will get hit by it. It does do some damage. I don't think it does a terrible lot. I think it does some, but it also knocks you backwards, so if you're not careful, it can kill you, so just be mindful. That's why I tend to recommend using your throwing knives, fire bombs, iron arrows, whatever you got with range, just to break the door open. That's why you don't get hit by the expelled sand. So use our throwing knives for that. Let the sand out. Inside was a locked door, which was opened with the Seldora den key that we got from Creighton the Wanderer. Since we helped him out in this little fight against Pate, he gave us the den key, and that's the key. Use the key there. It unlocks the door, and another door on the other side with two chests. The chest on the left is a wood chest, and it's trapped. It has a little firebomb trap, so if you open it up, it will go boom. So it's just best to get a shield that has good fire defense and just try to block it. And that chest had 10 rusted coins. It's not bad. I mean, rusted coins are hard to come by, and they do improve item discovery rate, so they are useful in farming your covenant items offline. But the real prize is in the other chest, in the metal chest. In there was the engraved gauntlets. Special pair of gauntlets that if you wear, pretty much applies a critical hit effect, or has a chance to do critical hit. It's a pretty low chance. I don't know the exact number, but I would say 5% at most to do, I want to say, double damage at most. I don't really use it, and it should, if it does, it should be like a little chiming effect when it does activate. So if you see a big chunk of damage and a little chime, your engraved gauntlets did its thing. So that was the real prize of that little den. And also, if you open up the trap chest, you survive the explosion, look here, either Pate or Creighton, whoever you sided with, he'll comment on the little effect it did to you, or comment on the fact that it exploded in front of you. Kind of like a last goodbye kind of thing. So, we got that. Hop back out to the street, traveled up to where, or fast traveled back to the bonfire to get to where we encountered Creighton and Pate to see if he was still there. No. I'm pretty sure once you open up the trap chest, little dialogue plays, he's gone. And Creighton and Pate's gone at that point. So their quest line's done, they're gone from the game. Yeah, so we went back down to the cove, back to the street, and we just pressed forward. Yep. Through the little archway, across the bridge, over the spiked rocks. There's a proper word for it. I don't know if it's stalactite or stalagmite. I don't quite remember what it's called. I tend to get confused them. One's hanging from the ceiling, the other one's coming up from the ground. It's like stalagmite, I think it's from the ceiling, and stalactite, I think it's from the ground, or vice versa. I don't quite remember, but yeah, across the bridge there, dealt with the little peasants and the little rocks. And at that point, we disrobed and we ran into the rocks. Yep, it does do a little bit of damage. It's not a lot, but the sound is really annoying. I'll say that. And it will damage your equipment. It will do durability damage as well. That's the reason why we took all of our equipment off, just so we don't lose anything, because it will do a lot of damage to your equipment as you run through it. But I do recommend going in there because there's like 3 torches, and the other pile had, I think, a large shard, 3 chunks, and a slab. So it's definitely worth trekking through that little spiky area, dealing with the noise. But so we did that. Then we opened up the spider door at the other end of the bridge into this big room with a whole bunch of spiders. There's probably like 10 or 12 of them on the ceiling, and it's a lot. You walk too far into the room, they will activate. But before you go in, if you look to the right, there is a sconce that you can light, giving you like a little safe zone against the spiders. I didn't light that immediately, but we did use the door to kind of funnel the spiders into one spot in front of us, just so we don't get surrounded. Use our Claymore's little reach and sweep attack to just kind of take care of multiples of them in like one swoop. So we cleared out the room. I think one of the items is a Soul of a Great Hero? Soul of a Hero. Okay, never mind. Soul of a Hero and some other stuff in there. Maybe like a little shard or something, but the Soul of a Hero is probably the biggest one I can remember. And there was a locked door on the right, but at the other end there was 2 doors you could open. We opened up the right one, revealing a red phantom enemy. Yeah, he doesn't respawn, and he's your only hint of the existence of the pickaxe. Yep. Pickaxe is a famous secret in Dark Souls 2. Yeah. The only way to get it is to basically aggro a pig up at the campsite, run it all the way down Brimstone Cove into that room with all the spiders. Yep. Because once it gets into that room, it'll dig up, I say air quotes, dig up a spot in the room, revealing the pickaxe. Yep, so that red phantom is your only hit because it wields the pickaxe. It's dressed in the peasant outfit. It has the porcine shield, which is just a pig face on it. So it's kind of like your only hint, really. But yeah, so we took care of him, opened up the other door, took care of the other infested hollow on that side with the spider on his back. Yep. And at that point, we went back up to the campsite, cleared it out of the falconers, and aggroed the 2 pigs. Yep, we did a walk where I walked the pigs all the way from the campsite all the way down to that room. I hope didn't have to do that much, just had to clear out the peasants along the way, the spiders in the one trap room before the Magus fight. I think the best drop down is, so we go through the Magus arena. I think the best drop down is where we did the drop down to get to Creighton. We had like 3 faces on the left. Do that room. They'll take you to above the the last section we were doing, there's another drop down you could do there. Yeah, and then luckily the pigs can path through that path. I think it's the most direct way too. So we just lure the pigs all the way down to that room. Once they get into that room, they'll do their thing, unbury the pickaxe. So we just cleared it out of the spiders, picked up our pickaxe, and then we moved forward up the ladder on the left door, and that led us to the web room. Yeah, I just call it the web room. And it's a very dark room, a whole bunch of spiders, a whole bunch of webbings you use to get through the various platforms in that room. Yeah, so we used our torch just to kind of keep the spiders off of us. Grabbed all the items that we could. I think it was like a twilight herb, maybe like another soul item, I think repair powder, yeah, another torch, and just some random odds and ends. Useful odds and ends, but odds and ends nonetheless. Yep. Making sure we clear out the spiders along the way, otherwise they would aggro onto us after the boss fight, and we'd rather not have that happen. Yep. And there's also peasants on the bottom. Clear them out, ready for the fight. Then we took on the Duke's Dear Freya. Yep, the Duke's Dear Freya, who is not an old one. Nope, he's not an old one. He's just like a regular boss. At least in terms of the game, he's a regular boss. Surprisingly, I thought he was an actual old one, but I don't. The more you know. Although, yeah. So we took on the Duke's Dear Freya. Kept our torch lit because there are other spiders in that room in the boss fight, but if you have a torch out, they'll kind of like ignore you. And we just used our pyromancies just to blast its head. Yep. It's not a bad fight. I'm not used to the Duke's Dear Freya, so I did kind of get walloped here and there, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad. Yep. You will do enough damage to break one of its heads during the fight. Don't worry, it has another one. It'll turn itself around to get to the other head. Then you just repeat. Yeah, so just kind of avoided some attacks, blasted its head, heal when needed, and we defeated it. Defeated the Duke's Dear Freya. Yep. Took on the last of the spiders in the room, went towards the little dragon corpse, mummy, whatever you want to call it, at the other end. There's a little thing on the ground in front of it. You interact with that, and that's when you embrace the Great One's soul. Yep. So, Duke's Dear Freya is not the old one, it's actually the dragon in the back. Surprisingly, I know. At least that's what I gather from that little interaction. Yep. Yeah, the Duke's Dear Freya is considered an old one because it's probably feeding on the old one, but it's not the old one. I don't think it is anyway. Yeah, so we embraced the soul, traveled through the hallway, took care of Duke Sildor himself, was at least what became of him. Yeah, and he drops the Brightstone key, which is needed to open up the locked door in that little spider room, yeah, as well as the Dark Quartz Ring +1, and another Fragrant Branch of Yore. So, we'll never say no to the Fragrant Branch, because there are a limited number of them, and yeah, we can't take them with us, so might as well have to use them all before we go to New Game Plus. So we took care of him, checked out his room. There was a broken cage, which I believe that Freya was originally in. Yeah, it said that there's some sort of like spirit in the region, the Writhing Ruin as it gets called. Yeah, it took possession of Freya and turned it into the monster that it became. So I think it busted out of that little cage. So a little environmental storytelling, very good. FromSoft's pretty good at that. Or actually, they're very good at that, I should say. But so we took care of the Duke, moved on to the hallway, attempted to interact with the Primal Bonfire, but was met with Aldia, Scholar of the First Sin. Yep. He first shows up after you embrace all the old souls, or either that, or when you try to interact with the Primal Bonfires. Yeah. So he'll only show up after you've done all 4. So you need to do all 4 in order for him to show up. I think he can show up anyway in Drangleic Castle, but I like having him here. So we talked to him a bit. He said he'll keep an eye on us because we're on our way to becoming a monarch, or you know, a half-decent hollow, whatever you want to whoever calls it. So, yeah, so we talked to him. He left. We did the bonfire. Went back to Majula. I think we checked with the Kale. Saw that another flame was lit. I think that was it. I think I bought some of the bright bugs. I think that was it. Yeah. No, I didn't buy them yet. No. Yeah, I just went back to Majula, checked in with Kale and the Emerald Herald, and that was it. That was it. Yeah. Just finished up Brightstone Cove, took on Dukesteer Freya, talked to Aldia. All in a day's work. And between episodes, the only thing I did was I bought the bright bugs from Melentia, because since we embraced another old one's soul, she restocks her bright bugs, so I bought those, so just to have them. So I should have like 13 or 15. I have 16, okay. We have 16 bright bugs. Nice. They are really useful, but I tend not to use them because I don't care to use them, but if I have to, I will. But right now, they're just going to sit in our pocket. Yep. So I bought the bright bugs between episodes. I also cleared out all the enemies in the Iron Keep that at least from this bonfire to the Smelter Demon. Yeah. So I cleared out all the enemies, so there shouldn't be anybody here. There might be one guy, but he's not going to be a problem. Yeah, so I cleared all of them out, and with all the souls I got, I did level up a little bit. I put 2 more points into Dexterity, so we have an even 30, and I put the rest into Faith. So I think we have like a base of 37 Faith, I believe. So I'm trying to work towards the at least 42. I want to probably get to 55, but we'll see. We'll see. Yep. And I think that was it. I think that's all I did, was just clear out the enemies here and buy the bright bugs and level up with it. Because today I'm going to try and get those items. Yep. Little items and little fire patches here throughout Iron Keep. So I think we can get our fire defense up to a sufficient level that we could walk in the fire for at least a little bit. It's still going to be tricky here and there because of the chests. You know, even though we're opening chests, we are still affected by the fire, so that could go either way. But hopefully we'll have enough defense, and hopefully we'll have enough health to get all the items in the fire here. So that's the first thing we're going to start today. If I get them all pretty quickly without much issue, then we'll make our way into Drangleic Castle. Yep. So that is the plan for today. Get the items in the fire, make our way to Drangleic Castle. Yep. And start off here in the keep. Yep. We have the Dragon Tooth, mainly for the fire defense. This actually provides a little bit of fire defense. Provides 50. So I think it's the only weapon that provides fire defense. I think. I'll check with the other ones, but this is the only one we have that provides fire defense. And I have Pyromancy Flame because we are going to be using Flash Sweat to further boost our fire defense. I think it boosts it by 300. Yeah. It does not stack with the Orange Burr or Perseverance or any of that. Nope. So Flash Sweat is probably the best spell to use to increase your fire defense. So we're going to go with that. I have my Priest Chime here, just because I have heal equipped, so we can heal when we need to. It also has Homeward as well, just to get it out of the spot, but mainly for heal and Homeward, this is for Flash Sweat. And the rings are just going to just emphasize fire defense. Ideally, we would have like another ring here. I think it's a ring that increases all of our elemental defenses, but I don't have it. But for now, we're going to use the Flame Force ring +1. This is the best fire defense ring. The Ring of Knowledge just gives us a little bit of fire defense. The more, the merrier. Lingering Dragon Crest, just so Flash Sweat lasts a bit longer. And a Soldier's Ring just to reduce our equip load, just so maybe we can have a bit extra speed going through the fire. I don't know if that's true under 70 equip load, but gotta make sure, you know. Yeah. And the armor here is the best fire defense I have at the upgrade levels. Yep. So, Penal Mask, Black Witch Robe, Smelter Demon Gauntlets, Hexer Boots. These provide the best fire defense I have, again, at the current upgrade levels. If I upgraded some of these items, some of these armors, it'll probably change, but for now, that's what I got. So we have a base fire defense of 491, which is pretty good. With another 300 on top of that, we're reaching the upper limit of the fire defense. I think it tops out at 890. I think it's the most that'll affect your damage, or that'll affect how much damage is reduced from fire. But so we're getting close to that number, so I think it's a good spot. I think it's a good time. Got some life gems just in case. I'll slap on my other ones as well. Old Radiant for sure. So this is what we're going to use to get to the fire, or let's get to the items in the fire. I will change this out on our way to Drangleic Castle, but for now we're going to go with this. Here's stats for now. Again, 2 levels into Dex. I think I'd like another 2 into Faith. And our 35 and 10 is because of the ring. So, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Alright. Again, I got Flash Sweat, Great Heal for heals, and Homeward. Alright. Shall we get to it? Alright, let's get to these items in the fire. Yep. Lava is still instant death, but at least those little fire pools there won't hurt so much with Flash Sweat. This one's going to be a little tricky because it is a jump, and I might miss jump, so we'll probably die here maybe once or twice, but let's hope not. Let's hope not. Yeah, there is that little stone there to hop back across, but since we have Homeward, we're just going to get to the item, use Homeward, and we'll go from there. Alright. Walk off. Yeah, here we have to actually like jump, which is kind of annoying, but yeah, that's why. Because you have to turn. It's a real mess. So, all right. So I'm probably going to do this between. I'll just cut to the successful attempt. So I'll see you when I get back. There you go. Yeah. So that was 3 deaths, I think. Yeah. At least 2, but probably 3. So here's the first item. It's probably going to be the hardest one to do just because of the little jumps. The other ones are just kind of a run to the chest, and that's about it. So, alright, so this one is a bonfire sec by 3 and a simpleton spice. Okay. Not worth it for me because I don't use bonfire aesthetics, but bonfire aesthetics are pretty useful if you do them. Well, they are useful, I'll just say that. I just don't like using them personally, but they are useful. It's like resetting bosses to do like NPC quest lines, or just like refighting, like say like the Rotten again, just to get the million soul needed to go into Shrine of Winter without having to go through all the other zones. If you just kind of want to like speed through the game. So bonfire aesthetics have their uses. I just don't like using them personally. So alright. So that's 3 aesthetics and a simpleton spice. So the next one is in the big room before the smelter demon. Yeah, this one's just a run across. So we just have to run through the chest, open it up, grab the item, and get back. There is an Alon Knight along the way in case we have to do it. Yeah, I didn't bother despawning him, but I despawned all the others, so that's why they're not here. Yeah, except for him, he's still there, just toward the left of our head. Yeah, he's still there, but it shouldn't be an issue. He won't aggro, I don't think. But I just want to drop down here. Our target's that chest. Yeah, I thought about using, miracles like replenishment or resplendent life that give health over time, but they override flash sweat. So it's like, just stick with flash sweat and use Chugger Estus or use our gems. All right, so. Even though we're opening the chest, we're still taking damage, which is not cool. Phoenix Parma, nice. Phoenix Parma, small shield decorated with a phoenix. The sea of fire that swallowed the Iron Keep took the shield as well, but when it was retrieved, it was mysteriously unscathed, save for a degree of discoloration. Very good fire defense. Look at that, 90. 90 for fire, 70 for physical. It has its uses. Pretty cool looking, I'll say. Well, would have been better if he held it the other way, but oh well. Yeah, it would have been better if he held it the other way. But it is a small shield, and it is a parry shield. Yeah, that's the alternate parry animation. That is the better parry animation, I would say. Lesser startup frames, more active frames. On par with the target shield. So, yeah, that's the standard parry animation. And this is the target shield. Okay, you might use it. It's a fancy little parry shield. I'll say that. We'll hold on to it. Fine, we'll just do the run. We're not gonna bother. Yeah, get this out just in case. And there he comes. See ya, sucker. There should be an Long Night Captain up here, but hopefully we don't have to deal with them. Alright, he wasn't too bad. Alright, so the next, I think actually the last one, if I remember right, is in this room. I don't think there's any other fire treasures in here, or in the keep. Yeah, I think those are the last ones. That item, that chest. Which will require the use of life gems, that's for sure. Especially for that chest. Yep, I did hit the switch. This thing is perpetually active now, so it's always here. Just avoid the other switches. Alright. We're going to go for that item first, come up here, heal, and then we'll make our way to that. Alright. This is... Ooh, a fire seed. Nice. In fact, I should have all the seeds I need to fully upgrade, yeah. Okay. I think it only takes 2 more seeds to get our flame to plus 10. Okay, that's nice. Definitely worth it. Alright. I'm going to use a burr here, just to override the flash sweat. Nice, our fire defense is 641, which is still respectable, but yeah, Flash Sweat is much better. So Orange Bird to overwrite, and then we're going to apply again. Crack an old Radiant one. Get to the chest, crack another one. Open it up. This is Chaos Storm. Ooh. Well, it's what I think it is, not quite as good. Should be a Pyromancy. Yep, there it is. The Chaos Flame is said to have devoured the mother of Pyromancy, create multiple pillars of Chaos Flame. Those who sought great power were consumed by their own desires. Where are those lost souls now? Well, they've been devoured by Chaos. Just a stronger version of Firestorm, but again, Firestorm's lackluster. If it hit multiple times, yeah, it would be very powerful, but I don't think it hits multiple times. Maybe twice. So, no, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss, I'll say that. But, Chaos Storm. Yep, alright. We got another Fire Seed, Chaos Storm. That should be all the treasures in the lava. Yep. That should be all of them. Trying to think real quick. Yeah, I think that's all of it. Alright. That wasn't too bad. It was not too bad. Alright, so now off to Drangleic Castle. So I'll do wardrobe change and I'll see you when I get back. Alright, I'm back. Yep, I did a quick wardrobe change, got our spells in order, got our rings in order, all that stuff. Alright, so now we'll be going into Drangleic Castle. Yep, so we're here at the little Shaded Woods crossroads. That way leads to Drangleic Castle, that leads to Aldia's Keep, that leads deeper into Shaded Woods, eventually to Notchka, Doors of Pharos, Brightstone Cove. So we're gonna go through that door. Yep. We got falconers to deal with. We got, I think another invisible forest guardian. I think the game calls them, but yeah. So we're gonna make our way to the Shrine of Winter, and beyond that is Drangleic Castle. Yep. Our equipment for that little leg, I went with our Dragon Slayer Crescent Axe. I just love this weapon. Our Lightning Priest Chime +9, because we are going to be chucking in some lightning bolts. Yeah, because Drangleic Castle, the outside of it at least, is in the rain, so lightning defenses drop for everybody, yep, including us. But so lightning bolts are going to be particularly powerful out there, or lightning weapons in general. Hence the Dragon Slayer Crescent Axe. I know. Lightning Spear here probably would have been a better choice, but I like my axe. So I have my Priest Chime. I originally had the Kite Shield, but we'll go with the Phoenix Parma. Why not? Nice little parry shield won't hurt. So I have our Clemente Rain for stamina regen, Stone Ring for staggers. Probably not going to need it, but you never know. Bluestone Ring for faster, so we can chuck our bolts faster. Ring of Prayers, just so we can meet the 41 faith requirement for Great Lightning Spear. Yep. And our equipment, I have my Black Hood. This increases our intelligence and faith by 2, as well as increasing our cast speed, which is a very good spell caster's little hood. Mad Warrior Armor, because again it kind of works with the rest of the set. Wasn't quite sure with the gauntlets, so I went with our engraved gauntlets that we got last episode, just for the potential of extra critical hits. And our Alon Knight leggings. Yeah, I think it works with the armor. Yep. Again, it's mainly for your physical defense as well. So, yep. I also put on some gold pine resins because we can use that to buff the Dragon Slayer Crescent Axe. And pine resins only work on weapons that are not infused. So if we went and infused the Dragon Slayer Crescent Axe, we won't be able to use the pine resin on it. So that's a little correction I have to make. I think I said I could use it on any weapons, but no. I can use it on non-infused weapons. If the weapons have a base, if it already comes with an element already, that's fine. You can use the resins on it. But if I went to McDuff, use the bolt stone to infuse it into lightning, then I cannot. At that point, I have to use spells like magic weapon or lightning weapon or fire weapon in order to buff it. So since I haven't infused it, resins will work. So that's why I have it here. Yeah, I just need to make sure I say that somewhere. So, and our spells are 2 casts or 2 copies of Lightning Spear, Grey Lightning Spear, and 2 copies of Replenishment. Just a little HP regen on the side. You can never have enough health in this game, I'll say that. Alright. So now we're ready. Let's go. So we have some falconers to deal with. And it shouldn't be too bad. Bam. Why did our lightning spear do more damage than our great spear? Maybe because, well, from what I can tell, lightning spear has multiple hits add to it. I think we killed before great lightning spear could finish the job. But I don't know. Well, that's a good question, but yeah, we already took care of this little area. We already looted all the items. Yeah, this corpse over here had our crescent axe. Forgot about you. This is what you get. Yeah, that's what you get. Some replenishment going. It's slow heal, but slow heal is better than no heal. I'll say that. Alright. Now we're at the Shrine of Winter. So this door will open up now. We could have opened up earlier because we did reach the million soul memory required, but since we embraced all the Great One's souls, it'll open up anyway. You can see Drangleic Castle on the other side. Just walking up to it opens it up. And this is the shrine that will lead us to the crown of the Ivory King. Yep, so. But since we don't have, I think it's the Frozen Flower? I think it's what it's called. Yeah, so this won't work. We can go to the DLC, but we can't progress any further than that opening room, like in the Broom Tower. So. Little murals. Not quite sure what they depict, but it's obviously a dragon, but same thing on this side too. Yeah, not quite, but I don't know. Nice little touch to this little room. All right. So now we're on the other side of the Shrine of Winter. Go back this way for this item. Soul of a Hero. Don't mind if I do. Some more Forest Guardians. Haha. Oh, you're not dead yet. Now you are. Fine blessing, don't mind if I do. Well, he has a dagger. Daggers are attacked pretty quick. Ow. I forgot you can't target lock. Alright. R1 span for the win. Probably best to do that. I know I could use their Estus Flask or Life Gems, but I want to save them. Soul and Effigy? Don't mind. And here we are. The tunnel to Drangleic. So now we're wet. So now our lightning defense is way down, our fire defense is up. So, yeah. And the enemies do like using lightning bolts in their crossbows. And so just be mindful of that. Yeah, these little pricks. Hello. Thank you. Yep. Got royal soldiers again. Holy water urns. I think they are effective against those little royal swordsmen, as they are considered hollowed enemies. Drangleic Castle. Really cool looking castle, I will say that. The color scheme and all that. Really good. I think there's a crystal lizard around here somewhere. There he is. Really? I didn't kill you in one hit? Oh, come on. Screw you, crystal lizards. That lightning spear should have killed you in one hit. I call shenanigans. Well, anyway, we'll come back for him. We will come back for him. But Emerald Herald?
This castle is isolated. But nonetheless, you must forge on. To bring an end to your journey and mine.
Anything else? No? Really? That's it, really, huh? Alright, whatever. Isolated castle, we must press on to end our journey and hers. We'll just slap that on our hotbar. Oh, that amber herb restored all of them, so might as well just leave that. Okay. Yep. Then we have mastodons. Although they appear like statues, they will come to life. So just be mindful. And the Emerald Herald is not invincible. She can die if you accidentally get these guys. Like, you'll come up here, these guys will come into life. Your first instinct would probably be to back off, but the Emerald Herald is, again, immortal. She can die, and if she does die, that's it. You can't level up anymore. So just be very, very careful. Although I think... No, because... Actually, no. Dark Souls 2 has a little resurrection mechanic. I put resurrection loosely, because if you kill an NPC, their gravestone will pop up. Particularly blacksmiths, merchants, her probably. Yeah, so they will eventually have a gravestone where they last died. So if she died here, gravestone will be here. Eventually you'll be able to interact with it to do all your usual stuff, level up, all that. But yeah, so that's a nice little touch for Dark Souls 2. Though some NPCs take longer than others, but So if you accidentally kill someone, you can still interact with them. You're just gonna have to wait a while, a few hours at that, like in-game hours. All right, Emerald Heralds, we're not gonna let you die anyway, so replenishment going. Come on, there you go. And they both come to life, and they're both unrusted. Yeah, these Mastodons are the unrusted versions. They can drop the unrusted Mastodon armors. Yeah, because the ones in the Doors of Pharos, they drop the rusted version, rusted Mastodon armor. These guys will drop the pristine version. Yeah, so, and they do respawn, so you just have to make the trek down to them in order to get it. Ah, yes, the door. Some of these statues on the sides will come to life like the Mastodon. Yep. In order to open the door, you have to power up the golems. In order to power up the golems, you gotta kill enemies by them. Yep. Let's see. The little... that little soul thing goes up to there, powers up the golem, and he'll open up the door, or at least open up one of the switches. Ow. There he goes. He's in place, so we gotta get this guy powered up. And until this door's open, this guy here will constantly respawn. He's infinitely respawning until you open the door. It's just so you have a means to open the door. There it goes. Ow. So there's another one. Yeah, they're coming from over there, but since this guy's activated and the door opens, bam, Drangleic Castle. Before going inside, we're going to check out the peripheries. Should be the last of him. I think he spawns in this little alcove here. Yeah. Don't think there's any illusory doors outside out here. Alright, so we're gonna get some of these guys. Yep, there he goes. Ah, way too soon. I mean, they're not hard to parry, it's just I gotta get my timings right again. Now. Easy there, buddy. Huh. So 2 on this side, I think 1 on the other side. Come on. That was a guard break critical. Yep. So, guard break, and then critical. There should be a chest on this side. I think the middle one opens. There's the chest. Oh, there's a delay in there. If he didn't delay his attack a little bit, I would have gotten it. But, yeah. Yep, so the middle statue here, the two on over there, and I think they respawn, so... There's a better place for them to farm their equipment inside. Shouldn't be trapped. Great combustion, nice, and fire seed, which I think is redundant at this point. Yep. But another great combustion, won't say no. Alright, castle. Alright. So we'll go upstairs first. This is a ghost. He's Chancellor Wellinger? I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but he's the Chancellor of the King. Yep. And he's also a very important NPC if you want to get the Platinum Trophy. And in order to get all the pyromancies and all the miracles, you have to talk to him in New Game plus 2. Or 3, however you want to count it. But, yeah, because that New Game plus, he sells the Covenant rewards for the Blue Sentinel and the Brotherhood of Blood. Yeah, so... Yep. So you don't have to do the online stuff for that if you want the rewards. You just have to go to New Game plus. Yep. And bonfire statics don't work. You have to actually go through New Game plus, and then to him and New Game plus. Yep. So... Yeah, he also sells various other things in New Game cycles, so... He's an interesting guy, I'll say that. Alright, Chancellor Wellinger, what do you got to say?
Who are you? And by whose permission do you stand before me? This castle is the domain of King Vendrick. Is your trespass intentional? His Highness. Where has he gone?
Oh, Chancellor, you're... Yep.
You are a guest of our castle. I am the Chancellor, Belaga. Do you seek an audience with my lord, King Vendrick? Unfortunately, His Highness is absent. My lord, the King, has... The Queen has taken him.
Alright, so it's Chancellor Wellinger. Okay, that was kind of close. So the king is absent, and the queen has taken him. Taken him, huh?
My lord made magnificent findings on souls. An accomplishment for the ages. He vanquished 4 great ones and built this kingdom upon their souls. Our king has watched over this land since ages long ago. King Vendrick, we must fight back, or the giants will take Drangleic.
So Vendrick defeated the old ones like us, and he became a monarch that built the kingdom upon their souls. Yep, and I guess at some point the giants invaded? For some reason?
The king had a dear queen, a woman of unparalleled beauty. Long ago, the queen came to us, alone, from a faraway land. She warned our lord of the looming threat across the seas, of the giants. The king crossed the ocean and defeated the giants with the queen at his side.
Interesting. So the queen is from a faraway land, came to warn the king about the giants. Together they went to defeat the giants. Fairy tale ending? No, it's not.
The king commandeered their power and created the golems. With the golems, the king created this castle. To celebrate victory, and to show his love, his gratitude to his queen.
Right, so he went to defeat the giants. He acquired their powers, basically allowing him to infuse souls into inanimate objects to bring them to life, like those little golems outside. Yeah. Very similar to the Iron Golem in Dark Souls 1, where it's a suit of armor that's powered by, well, it's a bone of a dragon, the ancient dragon, but it's a very similar concept. Use the power, I think, of the ancient dragon soul in the bone to power the Iron Golem. So it might be, it's probably very similar. Interesting. Could the giants have been what became of Lordran? Or are they like the residents of current day Lordran or whatever? Who knows? Who knows?
The queen brought peace to this land and to her king. A peace so deep, it was like the dark.
The dark. Yep. The capital D, dark. That references the abyss and Manus and all that stuff. Yep.
Is this some sort of a dream? Where am I? What has happened to our castle? Who are you? And by whose permission do you stand before me?
Wellinger, I need you to pay attention. You have stories to tell me, tell me. But yeah, well, Vendrick fled the castle. He has reasons. And it's kind of deserted at this point. Just the remaining soldiers defending the place till the end. They became hollows in the process, but...
Welcome, visitor. Our guests are treated with honor. This is the way of our castle. Tell me if you should require anything.
Well, I require your gesture. This one's me. Alright. So before we buy items, let's just talk.
My lord made magnificent findings on souls. An accomplishment for the ages. He vanquished 4 great ones. And our king has watched King Vendrick.
Alright, so I think he's just going to repeat all the stuff he already told us. Alright.
The king had a long...
Yeah. Okay. So he sells the Flamberge Lucerne. Halberd characterized by a sharp-beaked spike. This weapon is swung down upon its foes like a pickaxe, utilizing its own weight in a powerful attack. Break through shielded guards and deal damage. Okay. Again, it's halberd, so it has that sweet spot mechanic, so it's not quite as good as you think, but He has the bracing knuckle ring +1. Yep. Slows equipment degradation. Yep. Expensive flashy gear was not always make life easier for you. Sometimes you just need the tried and true equipment to last the long haul. Yep. Definitely buy that. Very good for items that have low durability. Got magic arrows, lightning arrows, bolts, lightning bolts. Lightning arrows are unique to Dark Souls 2 in that they don't have a range. Yeah, they don't have a range limit. They just fly straight, no matter what, which is kind of weird. I think it's lightning arrows. It's either this one or that one. One of these, they just fly straight. They don't dip or anything. So we'll grab these. Let's say 100 or so. That should do. Alright. Yeah, except I'm almost positive that these ones are the ones that just don't dip. They go straight. It's got old radiant gems, wilted dusk herbs, divine blessings, infinite repair powders. That's what I like to see. Yep. Right, so we'll come back for these. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. 25, that's 65,000. It's like another 70,000 right there. 71. And he has a great magic barrier. Yeah, superior miracle to magic barrier. Knights of Mir are expected to fight honorably, with reliance only upon swordsmanship. They only resort to the magic the only time they truly need it to face the magic of an enemy. Yep. Just provides better resistances than magic barrier. Yeah, it's just a better copy of it. So, go buy it now. Yeah, so I'll get the rest of the stuff probably between episodes, but, yep. Alright. Anything else?
The king commandeered with the god.
Alright, Wellinger. Yes.
Be safe on your travels.
Will do. Alright, Chancellor. Yep. He also has items that he'll give us, but I think we require the King's Ring to get it, at least. Either that or Vendrick's Soul, one or the other. But we'll be back, Wellinger. We'll be back. Right. So through here should be the throne room. I don't think anything happens in New Game. I think something happens in New Game Plus, though. But yep. You have the King's Chair and the Queen's Chair. Yep. So, yeah, nothing else in this room. At least not New Game. Again, it's New Game Plus that has the little events in this room. So, yeah. Alright, so let's go downstairs. There should be a bunch of CN Knights in this little section. So we're going to check the alcoves. It all leads to the same place, so it doesn't really matter which way you go. Gotcha. Yeah, pretty chunky boys. Now that we're inside. Yep. There's the Cien's armor. Replica of the armor of the loyal knight Cien. This solidly crafted gear often offers high defense. Sir Cien was widely known as the kingdom's most loyal knight, and when the giants invaded, he volunteered to lead the advance party, but was slaughtered most dishonorably. The king commissions replicas of Cien's accoutrements and bestowed them to promising knights, but not long after they donned the armor did they go thoroughly mad. That's not good. But yeah, that's why I call them Cien Knights, just because of this. Yep. Yeah, I like it. I like how it looks, but I don't care for the little shoulder pads. I'll say that. Yeah. But, yep, so this is where we get the chance to farm the Cien armor. You know, this is better, like, in almost every way, and it's lighter. Wow. Although I think the Mad Warrior requires Twinkling Titanites, while the Ciens don't. I think they require a regular Titanite. Right. Open door. Chest. I think you are trapped. Oh, cool. Sublime Bone Dust. Yep. Nice. So now we can upgrade our flask. Yeah, but some of these guys will come to life. Wake up. Try to avoid getting as many. Oh, come on. I used to be good at parrying these guys, but I guess not anymore. Yeah, one of you guys get it, you guys. Yeah. Really, huh? Yeah, just the best to step around them and backstab. It's much easier. You should come alive. Wow, backstab is more powerful than a freaking riposte. Jeez. And their leggings. Nice. Probably has the same spiel, but these ones are not that bad. These ones are pretty cool. Yeah, you can see them get a bit. They shrink a little bit when you put on armor. Yeah, but so, yeah, these doors don't open. Yeah, these ones don't open. Nope. Not there's any illusory walls in here, or fake walls anyway. I do remember there being an item, or am I in the different room? Might be a different room. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's go through the door. And one of these soldier guys should come to life. Really? I thought one of you guys did. Well, unless you're downstairs. Nope. Okay. He'll come to life once you get to the stair and the ladder. Okay. Yeah, we're downstairs. Stone soldiers. These guys can come to life. I mean, they're pretty resistant to lightning. So this might be not good. All right, so none of these guys do, but some later on will. Oh, yep, here's that room. Yep. Here's another king's door. Stick with the backstab. One of you guys come to life? Yep. Nope. Alright, produce the symbol of the king. Yep, there's another king's door. Through here is the final boss. Well, kind of. The final boss arena is through this door, but the only boss we can currently fight through this door is the Throne Watcher and Throne Defender. But we need the King's Ring to get through here, so we'll be back. Yep, that room sucks, and you'll see why. There should be a bonfire through here. There we go. Alright. Do I want to press forward? Not really. Well, let me rest real quick. Yeah. You know that? We'll call an episode. Yeah, I'll call an episode right here. Yeah, because I think the next leg is pretty lengthy, and video's going on about as long as I care for it. So, yeah, so I'll call an episode right here. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did quite a number of things. Yep. Started off at the Iron Keep, put on our best fire defense gear we had. Yeah. And we went and grabbed the treasures along in the fire pit paths, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, we got the treasures in the little fire. Yeah. The first one was on the entrance to the Iron Keep, little broken section of the bridge. Though that one to get was probably the hardest. Yeah, only because you have to jump to each little island in order to get to the item on the end. Yeah, and I did miss the jump at least twice. Yeah, so but I eventually did make it to the end. It was 3 bonfire ascetics and a simpleton spice. So, a simpleton spice, not as useful as I think. I don't think it's useful, but it can be useful for some things. But the bonfire ascetics are probably the better reward for that little trip, because ascetics are very, very useful. But again, I don't use them because I don't want to set the area to the next new game cycle. Yeah, using a bonfire ascetic will reset the enemy spawn limits. It will reset the items, the boss in the area. So, yeah. So it has its uses, especially if you want to farm souls from the old ones like the Rotten and the Gulch, or to reset boss fights for NPC quest lines. So if you don't, you can do some of them for multiple versions of, say, like Lucatiel for the Fluxile Sentry, or Benhart and the Prowly Magus in Congregation. So this helps to avoid issues along the way where they die to harder bosses or you miss them or something like that. But so ascetics have their uses. I just don't use them personally. So yeah, so that first leg gave us that, and then the next little spot was further into the keep, the little area before the smelter demon. There's like the stairs in the center that lead down to the little lava pit. That one's trickier because there's a chest and you take constant fire damage when you're opening the chest. So luckily our fire defense was high enough that you could mitigate the damage with, life gems or miracles like the replenishment. So, although I wouldn't recommend using replenishment if you're going to use flash sweat because they do overwrite each other. So, more like, life gems. So, yep. And that chest contained the Phoenix Parma. Yep. A very good fire negation shield. A small shield decorated with a phoenix. The sea of fire that swallowed the Iron Keep took this shield as well when it was retrieved. Yep. Small shield with the better parry animation. I won't say no. Also very good fire negation at 90%. So if you're going up against enemies that deal fire, this is shield for you. So we got that. And then the last little treasures in the fire was in the next room down past the smelter demon that had the entrance to Belfry's soul. And so there was actually 2 there. There's an item on the ground we just kind of go and pick up, which I don't remember what that one was. I think that was a fire seed and something else. I think it was just a fire seed, actually. Yeah. And the last item was on another chest, but this time was down a much longer path compared to the one for the Phoenix Parma. Yeah, so we definitely used our old Radiant Life Gems. We used 2 of them just to help counteract the fire damage, just so we have enough time to open the chest and run back to the stairs. Yep. And in that chest was the Chaos Storm Pyromancy. Just a better version of Firestorm, but Firestorm's meh in Dark Souls 2, yeah. I mean, it hits decently hard, but it only hits like once, maybe twice. So it's like, not quite as good. But yeah, so we got the Chaos Storm. That was the last item in the fire pits area in the Iron Keep. And then after that, we went to the Shaded Woods Crossroad, readjusted our equipment and spells, and we went to the path to the Shrine of Winter. Yep, through some Falconer, through a Forest Guardian, came upon the Shrine of Winter, and it opened it up. It opened up for us. Yep. It opens up in 2 ways, either by embracing all the great souls, or by having at least 1 million soul memory. Yep. And soul memory is this right here. Yep. So we had almost 5 times the needed amount, but so either one is required to open the door. We met both, so it opened up regardless. Yep. And inside is the access point to the Ivory King DLC. So we'll come back to that when we get when we finish the base game anyway. So we pressed on through some more Forest Guardians, picked up a Soul of a Hero, I think an effigy, another soul item, crossed the tunnel into Drangleic proper, or at least the Drangleic Castle, to the outside. We encounter some royal soldiers. There's a crystal lizard we have to go get. And then we found the Emerald Herald. She's sitting outside on the bridge towards the castle. She basically said that we have to go through the castle to meet our end and hers as well. I think she used like the end of our journeys through the castle and all that stuff. So we chat with her real quick. That's all she had to say. Apparently I thought she had a lot more than that, but I guess not. So we made our way through the bridge. Encounter the two pristine primal knights. I call them pristine because their armor is pristine. So if we go back and farm them for their items, their armor is going to be the better version. So and they do respawn, so I will go get their armor set, probably between episodes, but so we threw the mastodons to the front gates. In order to open up the front gates, we have to kill enemies next to those golems. Because throughout the game, you probably saw little white, bluish fogs traveling to the character that we eventually absorb. You basically have to be close enough for the golems to suck that up. So until the gate opens, there's at least one, maybe two royal soldiers that constantly respawn until the door opens, just so you can open the door. And so we killed enemies by the golems. It sucked up their souls. At least the visual part. You still get the soul gains. Like you still get the 800 from the soldiers regardless, but the little visual that you absorb the soul goes to the golems. So they activated. They opened up the door. Took care of the CN Knights outside as well. They're like the little statues that become unpetrified as you get close. So there was two swords ones, one spear guy, and there's also a chest outside with a great combustion and another fire seed. So fire seed at this point I think is redundant. I think we have plenty to upgrade to the max for the pyromancy flame. But another great combustion, won't say no to that. So we stepped inside. We met Chancellor Wellinger, who asked us who we are, why we're here. We said the king's absent. Talked about how the giants could take over the kingdom. He talked about how the queen came from far away, warned the king about the giants. They went to take them on. The king gained the powers of the giants to create the golems, to create the castle, to create the kingdom. And then there was peace so deep like the dark. So something's going on. Something is going on between the king, queen, and the giants. So there's something afoot. So we talked with Wellinger, bought a ring from him, the Ash Knuckle Ring +1. Not the Ash, the Bracing Knuckle Ring. And I think the Great Magic Barrier spell as well, or Miracle. So we talked with him, checked out the throne room past him, down the stairs to the little back hallway, cleared out CN Knights, grabbed the Sublime Bone Dust, through another door, another swordsman, down here to the bonfire, and that was it. That was it. Just gathered up the last items in the Iron Keep and made our beginning trek into Drangleic Castle. Drangleic Castle. It's actually I really do like the castle. The castle is actually a pretty good area. Although the next room is, I don't know about the next room. The next room is pretty, you'll see next episode. I'll just say that. Because there's these stone soldiers that come to life. You have to use them to open up the doors, because they're like the golems. you have to kill them by the doors to open them up, but there's quite a few of them that'll wake up, and you can aggro more than one, and it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. I think a Forlorn can invade here as well. There's a few drop downs. I know one of them I think will lead us to Dark Diver Grendel. I think is in there somewhere in that room. At least one of the doors that it opens. There's also Ruin Sentinels. Yep, the actual enemy Ruin Sentinels, not bosses. But there are Ruin Sentinels. Yep. And those are the ones where you have to kill to get the armor set. So they will drop the pieces, but I think they can respawn. I think they do anyway. Yeah. There's also a summons in there. There's a bunch of stuff in that room, but you have to kill enemies by the door to open them up, and if you're not careful, you get a bunch of stone soldiers on you, some ruined sentinels. There's more than one, so it's a bit crazy. I might purposely open one of the doors just so I can farm the ruined sentinel armor set, so I don't have to deal with the others. That's actually not a bad idea. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Alright. I'm going to do that real quick just so I can have a chance to farm for the ruined sentinels. Alright. I want an actual shield. Alright. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean by enemies coming to life. Yeah, I think I want that door, and just that door. Yeah. Yeah, but you can get... Yep, there he goes. He activated the door. Oh no, you don't have one. Okay, never mind. But that's the way forward. If you don't want to mess with this room, just open up that door. That's the only way forward. Alright. Just need a ruined sentinel. Come on. There we go. Yep. Ruined sentinel. There we go. So we're going to farm you for your armor set. So... Okay. How bad are you guys? Pretty chunky. I need stamina. Stamina would be nice, yes. Got clipped. They can still hit you through the wall, so just be careful. Come back here. Alright. So now that I have that door open, I'm just going to sit here and farm for their armor sets so I don't have to deal with this shenanigans of a room later on. Yeah. Because it is a shenanigans of a room, I'll say that. So, alright. So now that's all I'm going to do. That's it. Alright. But next episode, we'll be pressing forward through that room and through Drangleic Castle. I'm not quite sure how far we'll get, but there's quite a number of things in here. There's another Dragon Rider boss fight. Yep, Dragon Riders are the King's elite guard, so yeah, they're here. There's an invader, there's a bunch of different items. There's desert sorceresses are in here. Long Night Captains are in here. There's a gargoyle in here. There's some odd stuff in here. It may not make sense at first, but if you listen to Chancellor Wellinger, he said Vendrick conquered the old ones, which means he basically conquered all the lands. He subjugated all of it. Yeah, so having all of them here is not surprising considering what he did. So, yeah. is a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to try and get as much of it I can. I should be able to get all of it anyway, but yeah. But again, that is for another episode. And I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.